I'm Solène Nitz. Welcome to my second Design Inspiration podcast. So in this podcast I'll tell you each time the story behind the different design, and so I hope that these stories will resonate with you and that they will inspire you to share your own knitting stories. And you can do so in the comments or in my Facebook group, The Knitters Rendezvous. And so to me, knitting is the art of creating beautiful memories and of adding real value to our wardrobe. It's an art to touch, to wear, and to love every day. So that's why I wanted to do this podcast. And today I will tell you about the Ecaille top that I just released on Ravelry. So it's part of a collaborative project between a number of dyers, indie dyers and indie designers. So the project is called the Happiness Make Along, and the dyers created colorways. There is a theme behind the collection that Denise Wadevie, who curated the whole collection and started this project, chose. So she chose the theme Women and Water, and so the dyers created colorways to match this theme. What inspired them around the theme, and then designers like me submitted directly to the dyers some designs to go with their colorways. And so I was immediately drawn to one particular colorway, which is called Mermaid Tail by Pipa Yarns. She's a dyer from Czech Republic, sorry. And so what I loved about this colorway was first the colors, of course, because it has some beautiful purple and teal mixed together, and I really found it very beautiful, very eye-catching. And also the theme that she chose and the name that she chose for this colorway, because it's called Mermaid Tail. And I've always been very fascinated by the mermaid mythology and tales, and so what I really find interesting about the mermaids is that there are tales and folklores all over the world around them, and there are different each time, but there are like common themes that we can find all over the world of these women that are usually half woman, half fish, or half sea creature in general, and that's something that's really fascinating and really spoke to me for the theme of women and water. And so the mermaids usually there are like two big kinds of mermaid, I think. So the first kind is a woman who is a half sea creature, and she comes to the land, she finds love, usually marries, sometimes has children, and eventually she goes back to the sea, which is her true nature. So that's the case for the Irish Marrow, also the Scottish Silky, who are half seal and half women. And there are also mermaids of this kind in Chinese tales, which I discovered recently, and I was very interested to discover that. And so sometimes she has to renounce to her sea nature to become a woman. So the mermaid that we all know is the Little Mermaid from the Andersen tale. Thanks to Disney. And so she has to renounce her voice and in order to live amongst humans. And at the end, she even doesn't go back to the sea. She completely renounces her sea nature to protect her husband, and she eventually elevates to the sky. So that's a very intriguing tale, I think. And in France we have Mélusine, who is like a fairy, a water fairy, and she lives so she's of Celtic tradition, so mostly from Brittany, and she lives among humans. She marries a prince, I think, and so she's a very influential, powerful woman, and she lives with human for a long time, but she always asks her husband never to look at her when she bathes, and eventually one day, of course, he looks at her, and so at this point, like she can't go back to be with humans. So because she's not a fish, she's a half serpent, half woman, and so when he sees her half serpent nature, she sometimes takes revenge depending on the different tales, and always goes away and disappears, never to be seen again. So that's like the first kind of mermaids, and I think that they have there's a very interesting idea of freedom, the freedom of women, and of women who can't renounce their nature, their sea nature, and that's really interesting. And the other kind is like more of a sea guardian, and more vengeful creatures usually. And so, for example, there is the Mami Wata in Africa and the Caribbean, and she's a protector of the ocean. She's like a kind of fertility and at the same time destruction figure, and so she can lure the men into death, but she can also protect the sailors and the people in general, and that's we find her. So that's the Mami Wata, but also a lot of mermaids even in Europe, and there are also the Greek sirens that they aren't fish. They are usually half bird, half women, or sometimes just women, and they lure them. They lure men, well, sailors, in fact, with their enchanted voice, so that the ship crashes down. And another kind that I found was the Rusarkas in Eastern Europe. So these ones are a bit darker. They are like ghosts of young women who died violently, and they also lure men to drown them. So the mermaids are like quite mysterious symbols, I think. They are, of course, a symbol of the mysteries of the ocean, because they are found especially in countries where there are a lot of sea, and or they can also be in rivers or lakes, and so they kind of represent this mystery of the sea, and at the same time they are a symbol, always a symbol of freedom. They are fascinating women, and they are always free at the end. So that's something that, well, that's the thing that really inspired me about mermaids, and that's this idea of freedom that I wanted to have in mind sorry, when I created Ecaille top. And so Ecaille in French means fish scale. So I designed the bottom part of the top with a stitch pattern that is that represents like the bottom part of a mermaid, the fish tail of the mermaid, and so I wanted to create a design that connected me to the water and to the sea, because it's an element that I really love, and I also wanted to have this idea of freedom in mind, because to me creating my own clothes is a way to express myself, and it's a way to feel free every day when I wear them. So I wanted the shape to be easy to wear, so I could wear it all summer longer. And something that I didn't realize at the time when I was designing it is that it's a perfect match, so the color and even the style is a perfect match for my wet hot summer shorts that I designed a few years ago for Hollanets at the time, and so I'm really happy, because I have created in fact like the perfect matching summer outfits, so I can wear a whole knit outfits this summer, and that's a pretty big goal for me. I was really happy when I realized that, and I'm very proud of this design. I like that it connects me to the water. I like the the free mermaid, the freedom of the mermaid reference, and so I'll happily wear it all summer like a fish in water. And so I want to finish on a quote, because Denise, who curated the collection of the Happiness Make Along, asked us to choose an empowering quote to go along our designs. So I chose this quote: "Clothes aren't going to change the world, the women who wear them will." It's a quote by Ecaille, and I think it's a very, very true and very beautiful quote, and it's one of the main reasons that got me into knitwear design. So I hope that you enjoyed this little podcast. Don't hesitate to tell me your own knitting stories, and if any of that resonated with you, don't hesitate to tell me in the comments. And you can find the Ecaille top pattern on Ravelry, along with as I told you, a beautiful collection of designs called the Happiness Make Along, and it's created by many talented designers from all over the world. So I'll link to that in the notes, so you can find all of that. And so I want to thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day.